Welcome to CD-ROMP, a brotherly stroll through the PC games of the 90s and early 2000s. My name is Bob, and with me...
I thought I was going to say my own
Jim,
name.
Oh, may I announce you?
I'm Jim.
Jim, may I announce you?
Okay,
I give you
but you need to do it very regally.
Okay.
Imagine you're like a court jester.
And be presenting my biological brother, Chippy.
Yeah, I'm Jim.
I said your name for you. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
again,
Jim.
you said I'm Jim, yeah.
This time I'm going to remember to do something that I didn't remember to do last time.
What's that?
I'm going to get right out the gate and say, no, the name of the game is Myst this time around. I think it was like a quarter of the way through before we actually said it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Welcome back, if you were with us for our previous episode, Escape from Monkey Island. Good times in the podcast, not so good times playing. But anyway, we'll get right into Myst. We're going to go a little bit of the history, or as like the backstory, and then we'll talk about our experience. But before we do that, I'll kind of give you the quick breakdown as to how this works. We pick a different game every week. We take turns as to who picks the game. We play each game for at least 4 hours. Jim has been bending that rule. We'll find out how he did this time. And then we meet up to discuss our notes. I didn't take the best of notes this time, but I did take a lot of notes because we kind of switch off as to who does the back research. So I did take good back research notes.
Yeah.
And I watched a crap ton of YouTube. Like, because this game is so revered, there's like a crap ton of interviews and shit like that. I watched like hours of stuff.
So you watched other people talk about the game so you could talk about the game?
No, I watched the creators.
So you watched other people talk about the game, though? So you could talk about the game?
Yes.
Why don't we just watch that instead of doing this at all?
We'll just link people.
Yeah.
You don't need
Well,
us
that's it for this week.
per
We're just going to
se.
link those videos, and then you guys can all go home.
And we're done. But on the other hand, in case you did want to actually listen to what we have to say, let's start talking about Myst here.
Sure,
Came
go
out in
for it.
1993, okay, which is
Okay.
in regard to the 90s, fairly early, I'd say.
Okay.
It took them 2 years to make, and by them, that's Robyn and Rand Miller, two brothers, just like us. Their company at the time was called Cyan Inc., and it was published on the computer by Broderbund. Who made a lot of
a Broderbund situation.
A lot of games back in that time. So actually, interestingly enough, when they first got the funding, it was to make the game was from Sunsoft to make a Sega Saturn game, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
And the whole thing for the game, or the biggest constraint and slash like different thing, is that is going to be on a CD, and that totally changed kind of how they designed things and how they planned it out.
Well,
and
yeah,
I think
it has
also,
different, like, memory capacity and shit,
Yeah. So, well, let me just also mention that they also had to make a PC game that could also be run on the hardware of the gaming systems at the time. So that was another constraint.
Okay.
Now, for the CD-ROM aspect, CD-ROMs had actually just come out. And so I had actually totally forgot about this, that there was like speeds of the drives. Whatever speed we're at now, I guess is just the default. It's either like 32 or 64 or whatever the hell it is. But back then there was like 2x, 4x. I remember getting like a 16x drive, and it was faster than the 8x. But anyway, I kind of had forgot about all that. But at the time, the drives like actually spun and read very slowly, and you had to like worry about where the information actually was on the disk, because it's made in like kind of like a spiral.
Okay, yeah.
And so they had to like plan things next to other things. Anyway, I don't know how interested you are in the CD-ROM, but that was like one of the big parts about Myst. It was like one of the first games on a CD.
As opposed to Floppination.
Yeah, as opposed to like a series of floppy disks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kind of their design process and what they're thinking. Okay. So they wanted this to be like an adventure game where you used your common sense to solve puzzles that were kind of integral and not just thrown in. Okay. So I guess I don't know how much we want to get into gameplay. There is puzzles involved, and they wanted to make it seem like, it wasn't just for no reason. And when they were testing the game to begin with, they actually did it D&D style. like without even any graphics or computer. They had all the game laid out. Yeah, and they told people like, you are now on a dock. Yeah. You look to your right. And they took notes from there. And then when they put the whole game together, they actually stood behind people and like watched them played and then saw like what went well, what didn't go well, and then edited it on the fly.
Interesting.
For anybody into the technology of the time, they used something called HyperCard to make it on the Mac. They used all Macs to make the game.
Go on.
We're kind of a PC shop here, I'll say, which is pretty cool. I watched a whole video on HyperCard and how it worked. It was basically like this software that allowed you, think of like a deck of cards, to make links throughout the decks of cards and jump around any way you want.
Okay.
As you know, and we're going to explain to everyone, and we're going to get into gameplay very shortly. Yeah. Myst is like, here's what some of the critics had to say. It was like playing a slideshow, really. So for those who haven't played Myst, they're pre-rendered screens, which at the time was like crazy graphics, right? And then you click on things and either something happens on the screen or you turn. There's like arrows, you can go left, right, up, and then you see another screen, and it's like a fairly static screen. So you can understand how like the software that was like a deck of cards moving from screen to screen, moving from pre-rendered picture to pre-rendered picture, how they were able to make it with that. Okay. Background. We cover all that. Okay. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, there's a crap ton of YouTube videos. HyperCard. There's like old interviews, like people like HyperCard sweeping the thing. What are people making out of it? And some guy's like, I made accounting software. You could check all that out. It's out there on the internet. Okay. I think I rambled in circles pretty good. Do you feel like you've got it? Do you feel like you've got a good background in this game?
Yeah, I mean HyperCard.
Yeah. Early CD-ROM game.
CD-ROM.
Yeah. Critics were kind of split. Some people said like, wow, I was like totally immersed. This is the first time I felt like I was in like a world.
Well, and other people, I mean, that's probably the first time they were in a world. They
put like a lot into it to make, and it was like one of the first like, 3D looking games. One of the first, I don't know if it was one of the first, but it was their first game in color that they had come out with.
Okay, interesting.
So that's something different.
That's a choice.
Sure. Well, I never even thought about the fact that like in computers, it wasn't like the switch from black and white to color with TVs that happened in like what, the 50s?
Yeah, it's
with
different.
Computers, it was like in the 90s.
Yeah, well, before that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's around that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of different factors. Some people are like, whoa, it's totally crazy. And other people are like, I'm not really so into it. The puzzles are too hard. Can't figure out what the hell I'm doing. Well, it looks like a slideshow.
So I guess on that note, we could talk about the actual gameplay.
I think we can. Can I say one last thing?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to lead you into the game layout and the gameplay, and then I'll make one comment from the creators. Okay. So in the game, and I'm making my way into gameplay here, right? In the game,
I've heard.
The game starts.
Okay.
And you're just like,
hold on a second. The game actually
has started at this point. Yeah.
Oh wow.
At this point, we have.
I feel immersed.
And there's like a guy falling, right, with like a book.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what's gonna happen in this book, but everything's happening. And then
he's a little less homeless, but I guess we never see his home.
He has kind of a deep voice, though. I think mysterious.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then you're on an island.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's just like you said, there's like a static screen pretty much. You hear some noises, but there's nothing really moving around at all. Okay. And you're on it. The way that the game is set up, and this is actually part design because they like the idea, in part because of the technical limitations. You're on a main island, Myst Island, and you have to get from the island to other worlds, or ages as they call it, and figure out what's going on in each of the worlds. Okay, so I'll just say that, and then we'll get into the rest of it. Okay. So in terms of difficulty, the creators estimate that probably only half the people that have ever played the game have got off the island.
off the very first part. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So therein lies my first question, which is, I know that you cheated and looked up what to do.
No, I didn't.
I thought you said you did.
No, I came close.
No. I thought you said you did.
No. I texted you like, Jim, I'm going to have to. I'm going crazy. I got stuck at one point, and then I just like fought through it. And I never looked up anything.
Okay.
My whole 4 hours, yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you how
Tell me
much
about
I
your
played.
experience.
Yeah, I'll tell you how much I played actually. Because I think I ended up playing more than the 4 hours.
More than 4 hours.
Yeah. What's it called? Myst?
Off to a great start. Yes, generally it is called
I
Myst.
played 6.6 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I actually probably would have played more if I didn't get sick and like demoralized.
So
You know
we're
what I
going to
mean?
go straight to saying that you enjoyed it. Or you just couldn't stop.
I kind of oscillated between extreme frustration
and
and
pain.
rage and elation for figuring out a puzzle.
Well, you actually said that during the previous episode that that's like the joy of really hard games when you crack it.
It's like when you finally crack it. So I found the game to be, first of all, really, really hard to kind of navigate at times. Like, because it's just screen by screen by screen. A lot of the time you don't know exactly what you can interact with and what you can't. So you end up doing just a lot of like what I'll call ghost clicking around. So I'll like be on a screen and I have to figure out around the edges of this screen, like how far can I click? Like if I'm looking at like a bunch of things on the screen, if I click this, will it actually make me turn left, or is this something that I can click? And so sometimes you just kind of have to play around with that until you realize it's something that you can actually interact with, which is kind of frustrating, but you know, it's a limitation of the technology and the games of the time. But I found that when it was working, like I thought the actual puzzles were kind of done, I don't know about yeah, I guess they were well. I did find some of them to be more challenging than others. And then like it was a tough game, but I did enjoy when I did figure out the puzzles.
So let's make our way, and you went first last time, so I guess I'll talk my way through this time, and then you could jump in, because I feel like you got further than me.
I don't know. We'll find out. How far did you get?
We'll find out. Okay. So you start on the docks next to this island. You look around. There's like a boat, like kind of under. Is it underwater or is it floating?
It's halfway underwater.
Half in water.
The boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's like, you start walking up on the land, and then there's a note on the ground, and it says like, use the number of switches on the island to look in the transformunction, or whatever the hell it's called, to view my message to you, Ophelia.
Yeah.
Which is like this dude talking to his wife. Okay. So I'm like, where the fuck is this thing? He's like, it's near the docks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I was near the docks and I didn't see it at all. So now I just keep walking around. There's like this room where you go in and you sit and you could like look at different stars, which is kind of cool. And then you're like, what the fuck do I do here? Okay, I have no idea. And then you leave. And then you go further, and then there's this library. And then you finally get to see the books. So like Myst is about books, because the dad in the story is a dad and two sons. The dad writes these stories, and then he can travel to the stories through the books.
Yeah, but there's like red books and blue books, and one of his sons is on like Team Red Book. One of his sons is like on Team Blue Book, and they're like, every once in a while you have to like bring the pages back to them or whatever.
Bring me the red page.
Yes, the pages. And it's like all this staticky video that they recorded, which is pretty cool. I don't know who the actors are. I don't know if they're like the creators or if they got actors to do it.
So the two brothers are the two brothers that are the creators of the game.
I kind of figured it was the actual devs. It didn't seem like real actors.
Very much was. So that actually, like, their ability to have that came like halfway through development, because QuickTime was invented.
Ah, nice.
This is like so long ago that like standards that like
pretty
aren't
standard.
Because they're like, how the hell are we going to do this with no video? So they had that, and then I watched the behind the scenes video of them recording themselves on a green screen.
And that's pretty cool.
So what happened was, because I'll add in kind of the plot as I go. The dad was bringing his sons to all these different worlds that he created. And as the sons got older, they got like a little crazier, and they started going on their own and like fucking enslaving and fucking with the people who lived in these worlds. And eventually they got trapped in the books. And they also wanted to trap their dad in a book. So everyone's trapped. When you start the game, there's nobody on the fucking island. Everyone's trapped in a book, a different book.
Everyone's in their own book.
Everyone's in their own book. So you have to kind of make the decision, and you don't know where the dad is at this point. You have to make the decision through the game. That's like the whole main point of the game is, to find either all the pages to the red book and free the one brother, or all the pages to the blue book and free the other brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Something about the books and pages, which annoys the shit out of me. So in Myst, there's no inventory.
Yeah.
You could pick up one thing at a time, and the only things that you could pick up are the pages.
Yep.
Oh no, you could.
No.
I think you could pick up other things. There's like matches and all kinds of crap eventually. I didn't get that far. I watched the walkthrough.
Oh, okay.
After I played. So you can only pick up one thing at a time, and it doesn't like hold in your inventory. Your mouse becomes that thing or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you pick up a page, now you're using a page to navigate, which feels very wrong.
Wait, so did you not even get to the first page to pick up?
No, I did.
Well, you said like apparently.
No, because like other things you could pick up. I meant.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did eventually get to that and I thought as soon as I fucking put one page in the book, it was going to be like, you did it. Hello. Yeah. But it's just like slightly less staticky. And I was like,
yeah. He's like, oh, give me another one.
Who is that there? Some shit like that. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah. So you're trying to figure out, and you don't even know why they're in there or the backstory or anything. There's just like staticky dudes in books in this library. Okay. So at that point, I'm looking around the library, blah, blah, blah. And then I think I left because I was like, I don't know, there's nothing to do here, these books. Okay. So now I continue to walk around, and then there's like I don't want to do like thing by thing, every single thing that I did. But here's my problem with Myst. There is a lot of stuff that they let you look at and touch right off the bat.
Yeah.
So you like go into these rooms, and there's like a tons of little things and like knobs you could turn to certain amounts, and like generators and numbers.
But like so they let you do whatever you'd like to do, but it doesn't really have repercussions. It just lends to the confusion, right? You can't do anything wrong for doing it early. It just doesn't have any success for you, and possibly just makes you more confused. But when you do get up to that thing, it is like coordinated in a way that makes sense, and it's kind of cool when you figure it out.
So did you look in the manual at all?
Nope.
Okay.
There's a manual?
There is a manual, and I looked at it. There's not a lot in there. There's no controls, and they basically say like as like a word to the wise, they're like, listen, everything you're able to figure out everything in here using common sense. Pretend you're actually there, look around, and figure things out. That's like their advice. But then there's also, I think, a number that you could call.
Oh, okay.
There might have been. Can't remember.
Like EverQuest.
Another one. Yeah, to get tips. Oh, no, I think there was an envelope that it came with hints or something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it also came with a notebook to write notes in, which you definitely do need.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I took a lot of pictures on my phone because, like, there's so much there. You don't know what you're going to need or like what's important.
So yeah, I have some of my notes here still. I lost a few pages, but like, I'll show you just like what some of them look like. I don't know if you could see like all of this.
Is that when you made your way through the maze? What are those X's in grid? What does that mean? There's a heart there.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you. Yeah.
Did you fall in love during? Well, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
we have way more notes than I took.
Well, I lost a few pages too.
You must have got pretty far.
So the question is, I think I got further than you. The question is, how far did you get?
Okay, so I think there's a couple different ways that you can do it. I made it to the first world that looked like a kind of barren wasteland, Mars kind of looking.
Okay,
and it was the theme of that world was sound.
Okay, yeah.
Everything
was
had
that
like
the first
sound.
world?
So you took the spaceship to get there.
That was your first world?
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I think you could do it in all different ways.
I guess. I don't think that was my first world. I think that was like my third world.
Really? Oh, wow. You did that many worlds.
I think so.
Damn. I had a feeling you got further than me.
I think I got almost all the way to the end. You did the spaceship part where you had to go through. Here's my notes for that maze. As each direction I would keep going, and then I would block it off and then go back down.
That's an interesting way that you drew that. I think I have mine right here.
Yeah, look, and then eventually it started doing diagonals, and I was like, it can't keep going, can it?
So I can't.
I had to keep making like things like this, and then it would go off in 8 directions, and I had to go back and then back this way and then back this way, and then eventually went off the page.
Check this out here.
Yeah.
So this is actually a continuation, and I can't hold up the other one because I I didn't think it was going to take this long. So I have it on like banking information. I had like just a piece of junk mail on my desk.
Probably
so I drew all over it.
Yeah.
And then I got to the end and I was like, Tina, do you have any graph paper?
So you didn't get to the world that was in like the swamp?
No, I saw it in the playthrough.
Did you get to, so I did that one.
That one had some cool puzzles.
Yeah, I did the sound world.
Can I tell you something about that maze though?
Sure, yeah.
Well, we need to, what do you call it, right? We need to kind of describe things. So it's
it's kind of tough.
I'll try. So a part of it, you get in this spaceship thing and you need to go. No, sorry.
All right. So you solve a puzzle on the island.
Yeah.
There's like, you have to interact with them, some stuff, and you realize you're starting to make some headway, and you kind of unlock or open a door, and there'll be a book there. And then in the book, you open the book and you actually jump into the book and you're into a new world.
Right.
And then at the end of that world, you usually get like a page or something to bring back with you.
Right. Oh, and man. First time I fucking went through the maze, this long ass maze, and I didn't know that I needed to be carrying a page the whole time. So I got to the end of the goddamn maze. I got to the book. It brought me back to the main world. And then I'm like, fuck, I got to go through the whole goddamn maze again.
Well, no, I don't think you do. I don't know. I don't know, right? Because I haven't, won the game. Do you need to bring back all the pages? Because I only did that one time from a world.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Going through the worlds does nothing.
I need to bring a page with me do I need to bring the same color every time?
So you need to pick.
Oh, fuck.
You need to pick one.
Right, well, I'm not beating this game now because I'm not doing those worlds over again.
You need to pick one person or the other.
But do you have to do the same color every time, or can you just bounce back and forth?
Okay, yeah. If you went back and forth, you'd never finish.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. Well, I didn't read the manual.
They don't explain it.
Yeah, how would I know that?
There's no explaining. You're supposed to.
I didn't know I'm supposed to cater to the sons either, because the dad or me, whoever I am, tells me not to help them at all. Right. So how would I actually bring them pages when they want me to?
So here's the thing. You're supposed to, throughout the course of what's going on, like there's all like books to read and all this kind of stuff. You have to like read the whole plot. They don't like show you the plot.
I skimmed.
It's like written down in literal books, like journals and diaries and stuff like that.
So you figured out the part where like so you didn't do the thing with the telescope or whatever it is, the stars. You didn't get that one.
I never got there. I only went to one. I only got to one world.
So you did you
one age?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right. So I did.
You did way more. Oh, yeah. So let me just say about the maze. So we actually did the maze wrong. So the maze has all these different ways you can go, and Jim and I both wrote down a map and tracked which way we were going. What I didn't notice till I watched the playthrough is every time you went a certain direction, it made a certain sound to let you know if you were going the right way or the wrong way or something like that.
Oh, did it?
And it was supposed to be a very easy puzzle by just listening to which way you're going.
No, I was like, I know I'm going to need to keep track of this. So I was just trying to make sure that I was going this and following where I was each time.
I actually was enjoyed that as much as I was annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is actually really cool. This is a fucking long maze. Like, that might be one of the longest mazes I've ever gone through in a game.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
If you got yourself a little turned around, Jesus, you just wasted a whole lot of time.
I was like hyper focused, making sure I was where I thought I was, where I was holding my pen. Because if you got lost in here, you're like fucked.
And that was the most annoying part, because I didn't realize when I got to the end of this puzzle, you did it. You got to the end of the level. You're back in the main world. I didn't bring back a page with me. Well, then I figured out, oh shit, I need to be bringing these pages.
I never figured that part out.
And then I had to do the whole goddamn thing again. Luckily, I had written down the maze, so I followed the maze again, and luckily it mostly made sense.
Well, I'm not doing that again. So
yeah, that was brutal. But there's no on-screen text. There's no checkpoints. There's no anything. It's very much like you're there and you have to just kind of figure it out by what you can see and what you can interact with. Yeah. And that's what they wanted to do. But it does make it very challenging, I think.
Agreed.
So sorry, go ahead and talk about the different ages and stuff and notable puzzles.
Notable puzzles. So there was a swamp world. Yeah. Where you had to kind of navigate through this like bayou type thing, and there was different like pipes and stuff. You had to control the water pressure in order to get like the water pump to put power to the right place. And then you had to like then they had like a pulley system where you could go up to like different levels and stuff like that, just to like kind of navigate through. There was also a like a water world kind of thing, like a pirate ship level, where like similar like levels things. There was like a generator, and you had to mess with the water levels to be able to enter like certain portions of the level, and then you had to like go through, and like it was that one was also kind of difficult. And then another one that was really giving me problem is eventually I went to Gear World. You know that like gear place? I opened up the gear,
like
and
there was Stone World.
Yeah, there's like a gear in there, and then like you go and you have to. There's like this inner sanctum, and you have to spin it. And stuff like that. But so then I think I got all the way near the end because I found like both sides of like the final riddle thing.
Oh my God.
That says like the vault is located in a very plain view on the island of Myst, and access can be achieved very easily if the simple instructions are followed. First, locate each of the marked switches on the island. Turn every one of these switches to the on position. Then go to the dock, and after a final step, turn the marker switch to the off position. But I don't know what that final step is.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's eventually you find two halves. And so I wrote down half, cutting off words on
Where
one side.
did you get all these words? From one of the books that you read?
No, you know how like in the beginning there's like a piece of ripped paper like this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Eventually I found another half piece of ripped paper.
Right.
I think it was either in one of the levels or something.
Right. Yeah, you need both halves of the paper.
Yeah, and then I found the second half of this piece of paper, I think in the thing at the dock. It's like you turn everything to on, and then you turn the dock one to off, and it opened and gave me like the other half of this or something.
Right.
But then it says after
I think
a
you
final
almost
step.
beat the game.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
but
the
it says
problem is
after
you
a
didn't
final
get
step.
You didn't get any of the fucking pages.
I know, so maybe I can't beat it because I'm missing all the pages.
I don't remember exactly like what you need to do, but I know that you need to.
So I know there's one thing I didn't do. So I don't know if did you ever go in the fireplace in the library?
Right. Yeah, I did.
So that's what these X marks are.
Oh,
so I was trying to figure out what thing, like what system goes to that dumbwaiter in the fireplace or whatever it is. So for me to go either up or down, because I'm assuming that's the last place that I haven't done because I've done everything else.
Did you find the book that tells you all the numbers?
Yes, but I don't know what number to use.
Oh, I got you.
I think
we need to do a better job of explaining what the hell we're talking about.
It's hard to explain.
In the library, there's a number of books. Some of them, a lot of them have been burned. You click on them, just burned. But others have things in them, and one of them is just like a long series of numbers, and then
so it's just matrices like this.
Yeah, matrices of either.
So it'll say like 135, and then it'll give like this, and this corresponds to a similar matrix in the dumbwaiter where you could click things to correspond to on and off,
right?
Like
to
binary,
make to match the pattern
toggles,
for each number.
Yeah. But the problem is, it's like a 300-page book, and you don't know what number to relate it to.
That's
so
one of the
I
classic,
tried a few depending on where I was in the game. So like the number 724 came up. That ended up being used in. I used that one, I think, as the combo in the shed. But so I don't know what number to use for that. I tried like 59, ended up being the voltage for that generator thing that you're talking about. I don't know if you remember the generator. That light just turned on behind me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm missing that one number. I thought maybe 135. And so these symbols, if you see these symbols, are from a different puzzle too.
Yeah.
I think that was for the end of Stone Island or whatever. You eventually got like, you had to enter in these different things. There was like 10 different symbols, and this was like a four dial combination or whatever.
How would you describe those four? Because some of the people are listening.
Yeah, so it's a semicircle. It's 3 triangles with a circle above it, a D, upward triangle, down triangle, sideways C, 90-degree C.
Or like a horseshoe.
Sure, yeah, horseshoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the game is also here. You'll I don't know if you'll see it because it's mirrored, but here's me writing down half of that final clue. See how I have the page rip here?
Right.
I wrote
You did
down
it the hard way. Why don't you take pictures with your phone? You're trying to pretend you're in the 90s and couldn't do that?
I guess I didn't even think about taking a picture. I was just like,
I should have had that restraint, but I was just like using my phone. I was like, tick, 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 tick. And then I have like all these screenshots of shit that like,
well, you can't read
have no
this,
idea
but
if you need
here's
it or not.
another note. I don't know if it's mirrored for you. It says back home, baby.
And that's just you being happy about it.
Yeah.
You made it. Got him.
Yeah. So eventually, so it was, so did you see that like in the library, when you press the button, like the bookcase goes down so you can get to like the turning tower or whatever.
Yeah.
And so depending on where it's pointing, it gives you different clues. Did you get that far?
Yes.
So
you can't get to that world without doing that.
Okay. So, but I don't know if you tried it on all of the things. So as it turns, the line in which it's pointing turns from white to red, depending on where it's pointing.
But
so
here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you don't have the switches turned on, you can't do that.
Well, no, I think you can, but they won't show up on the map. So when the switches are on,
it doesn't even work.
Oh no!
It'll never turn
I
red.
noticed fairly recently after jumping back and forth that when the switches are on, they show up on the map. So I guess I kept them on as much as I could so I could see them on the map, so I can kind of eliminate them as I go.
And they have to be on the map in order to point at them, or it doesn't work.
So related to that, the terrarium or astrarium or whatever the hell it's called, the star thing. When you point at the boat, it gives you the details. It gives you it's cut off here because I frustrated and reused and stuff like that. I know it's mirrored, but when you point it towards the boat, it says October 11th, like 5:45 a.m. and then it gives you another number in like 2099. And then you could put those in, right? And then it gives you a different symbol. It gives you like the Scorpio symbol or something like that. And then I think that's what you have to key in that main area where there's like 8 different toggle switches. Right. That show the different, they're not exactly zodiac signs, but they're kind of zodiac signs. And then when you have, animal symbols. And then when you have those, just those, like the right ones turned on and right ones off, then that little mini model boat raises up and so does the full size boat. And that's how you go to the boat world.
Right.
Yeah.
You did pretty damn good. You did good, kid.
Well, yeah, I mean, I spent a little bit more time, but there was only some points where I would get really, really stuck. But then a lot of other times I was making like consistent progress.
I was not. I was hurting. I was hurting real bad.
No, there was some times where I was like ready to stab myself with a soldering iron.
Well, they said, what do you call it? One of the reviews said it was like helped to create the escape room genre of games. Mm-hmm. And I know that you like doing those and you're good at them. I don't know if I am, but I've never escaped a room.
Sometimes they're just like stupid. Like, oh, of course you should have looked behind the sign.
Yeah,
it's stupid. I didn't find any of the logical jumps in this game to be particularly heinous.
Yeah.
Some of them were like, my biggest complaint was that I didn't know sometimes what I could interact with and what I couldn't. Like sometimes like I would click like pointing this direction and I would be able to walk a diagonal when like I didn't know I could before.
Interesting. I didn't have that problem. Did you turn on the quick walk thing?
I don't know that. I click fast.
So there was an option to turn on like a fast forward mode for certain paths that you had been already. And I think I confused myself more with that.
I just clicked really fast.
Interestingly enough, eventually they put out, I think it's called Real Myst, where it's the same exact game, except you could free walk.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Which I think they probably wanted to do at the time, but they just couldn't.
Yeah. So, that first thing that you were talking about where it was like, oh, my love, put in this code and I'll talk to you or whatever.
Right.
So that thing, you go down into like it's right next to the dock and you go down into like a
subterraneous. Which I didn't know was there for the longest time.
Yeah. You have to turn around and then you could see there's the thing.
Yeah.
But so then you go down there and then you could see it's like, and then you pull back like I don't know what to call it, like a little door. Yeah. Like on a circuit breaker or whatever. And you could type in the code that you have to do. So we knew what the code was. And then you hit enter and it doesn't do anything. Right. So I'm like, I was like, I know I need to type in. I forget what the code is.
It says the total number of switches on the island is the number.
Right. So I knew it was like 7, 8, or 9 or something like that. And I had went through and I counted them all, but I was like, oh, this is so hard to navigate. Maybe I'm just missing one.
Right. I thought the same thing.
Right. So I kept doing it. Right. I was like, oh, it's got to be 7. It's got to be 8. It's got to be 9. And eventually I went through the entirety of all of the numbers. And I was like, there's no way there has to be a number of switches. So I tried literally every possible combination.
Yeah.
I think I went through like actually 100 button presses until I realized you press in the right button and then turn around and hit enter on the module. And I was like, you son of a bitch. After I was just brute forcing it for like 35 minutes.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't know that there was a little tiny button that you push to open the panel and put your codes in. Yeah. So I went into that room probably 50 times, looked around. I was
Guns
like, how
blazing.
do I and I turned it. There's like a water effect as like the default setting. And I turned it off and on and off and on and off and on.
I don't even know what you're talking
millions
about.
of times. Yeah, because you probably never played with it until you put the number in first. But if you don't put the number in, the default number that it's stuck on, it's like water effect.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I said put the number in, and I kept putting the numbers in, and nothing was happening.
Oh my God. I was like, there's got to be fucking something here. I don't understand. How do I put that in? And then when I was watching the walkthrough, and the guy's like, oh, see the little button here? You have to press that. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? God, I didn't know that. Well, that's what apparently is one of the, I don't know if the word downfall is probably not the right word, hallmarks of the genre called pixel hunting. Not knowing what things you can click or not.
Right. Well, that's my biggest complaint.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also one review said that this game helped to kill the adventure game genre. It's hard to say.
Kill it in a good way.
It's also revered, you know.
Yeah, no, but I think kill it in a good way. Like it's so frustratingly like points out these things are bad. Everything else is so good. You know.
Yeah. Well,
because as confusing as the actual plot points of the story are, I didn't find myself really caring about that so much as caring about just progressing whatever the hell it was that was happening.
Yeah, and the creators even said, like, you know, we thought we really did try to make a good plot, but like in retrospect, it didn't go so great. Yeah. And that was like one of the big critiques as well. People were like, this plot, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and I don't really care. Just want to walk around and do the puzzles.
Yeah.
Some of them, one person, because I watched like a Q&A, one person said like their friend finished the game in like an hour and a half.
That's
like,
not
how's
even
that
possible. It's not. I don't think it's even possible.
I did.
Maybe like, a professional speedrunner at the game, but
I mean, someone who's never played it.
It just can't be. How do you even know what to do?
I guess if there's like 100 people, one of them has to have the right intuitive roll of the dice in their brain.
For every single puzzle, they have to pretty much get it right every time.
Yeah.
There's like just physically a lot of game.
Yeah, there is. You did really good. So I was listening. Obviously, we're adults, right? And you have an adult mind mostly. But the guy his playthrough that I watch, and I apologize because I don't remember the name of the channel. He was talking about he played it back in the day, and he was like a kid, like a little kid. I don't remember how old he was. And he said he played it. It took him like months.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I'm sure it would take with a child's brain. It would certainly take me months.
Certain stages, he got stuck for like a month, and he was just like not giving up.
I'm kind of glad that I stopped playing because like I don't think I would have gone back to those other worlds to go get those pages. I was pretty committed to never going back to those worlds.
I think eventually if you said 100% I'm not going to give up, I'm going to finish this game, you would have thought to yourself, there was pages. I'm going to have to do something.
Well, yeah. I think eventually, but I probably like the last like 45 minutes to an hour was all just trying to figure out what do I do now, because I had done everything that I could think of. Like every single place I had successfully interacted with.
And it doesn't even, the problem is, like you were saying, you didn't know that you needed to get the pages, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, when you bring the page back, it doesn't give you like a percent of how much you are done with the game.
Right.
You have no idea how more there are. Like it kind of, every page that you put into the book, it gets a little more clear, but you don't really know 100%. Oh, so let me, like you said, that second part of the page that you found that connects, right? That tells you how to get to the end of the game. When you get to the very end of the game, down that dumbwaiter, there's 3 pages. Oh,
that is the way to the end of the game?
That's the way to the end of the game.
Wait, all right. So tell me what number?
I don't.
Do you know what number in the book I needed
remember.
to get?
Check out one of the playthroughs.
I think that's actually the last thing I'm like. I think that was it. I just needed that number, and here's
the thing: you also need to get all the goddamn pages.
Are you sure?
You weren't far enough. You needed more page. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember though. So
I went to all the
let me
worlds.
explain the ending to you, and then
Well,
you'll be able
yeah,
to
I don't
figure
think
it
I'm
out,
gonna
yeah.
ever get to play it again.
Yeah,
Because I don't like at least not for many months. Because I don't want right now. I don't want to go back and get the pages.
Yeah. So when you get to the very end, you find this book where the dad is been captured, and there's 3 pages in front of you. There's a red page, a blue page, and a white page.
Okay.
And I think the white page the dad needs in the thing to get out. And if you pick one of the other pages, you set free one of the brothers.
Okay.
And then you lose the game.
Oh. That's fun.
Also, if you don't bring the page with you to go see the dad, neither of you can get out and you lose the game.
That's funny.
Because he's like,
I like that.
Where's the page? Did you bring the page? And you're like, what page? He's like, we're now trapped here forever together, you idiot. Apparently he gets really pissed at you.
That's funny.
Yeah. I don't know how it lets you go back. I guess you go to your last save point.
Nah, maybe you just don't. That's it. It's the end of the game, but you just don't win.
It's certainly possible. Back then, fucking games were so brutal. Like, that's it. You lose the game forever.
I mean, if a game, it's going to be that game. If there's going to be a game that's like too bad.
That's true. That's it. This is the game. You lose. You have to go through the whole, you have to start a new save file and do the whole goddamn game again. So what did you think? Give me an overall vibe. Do you think it holds up? What was your overall experience?
think so. I think because the actual, like, the process of completing the game and like it in terms of functionality, it doesn't really matter like the graphics or anything like that, right? So it's really just like how do you experience the game, right? So I think like the puzzles still are challenging, not that I knew them beforehand. I think that it's still entertaining on first playthrough, like because it's not depending on graphics being the driver of your experience. It's like your logic and your reasoning, and you'll be able to decipher what the game is throwing at you. I think it allows itself to be low graphic and like, you know, like old school, quote unquote. So I think like there's no reason why it doesn't hold up based on like the audio or the video or anything. And I think like the quizzes and the challenges and everything are still really challenging. If I had to give it a number, 8 out of 10.
It's interesting because people that really like this game like it a lot because of the ambiance and the feeling of world and the mystery. But that wasn't in your review. And also I know that you're not the kind of person that's going to be like reading every little artifact, because I know that you didn't. And there's a lot of that in this game.
So I mean, I did and I didn't. I skimmed like the books a few times because I knew that I was given so little info that the info I was given I knew was going to be important, right? So I knew that the books in the library were going to be important, but you don't really know how. Eventually you see at the end of one of the books is like the keyboard that helps you to get to the rocket world. Another one at the end of it has like I forget a diagram for something else to get into another world. Yeah. So I read some of I read and tried to pay attention to as much as I could, but I also thought that some of the books providing like backstory was just for world building. So I like read some paragraphs and then skipped a few, but I read pretty much almost everything that was thrown at me.
So I know that they spent a lot of time really fleshing out all the little bits and bobs and like so in each level, each brother has a room. I don't know if you noticed that. Mm-hmm. And they have totally different personalities. One's like one's very opulent and the other is like kind of like fucked up crazy. Okay, I didn't really think about that. They decorate each room like with that same thing. With that vibe every single time. And like each drawer you could open up and it has things and like little artifacts or like a
nothing
brush
really you could mostly interact with besides a page. There'll be like a dagger in there. Yeah. Or like, you know.
Things just in there that like serve no purpose rather than to just put you in the game. And that's like what I was saying. That was the biggest thing that people picked up on. Like one review was like, this is the one game that I really felt I had visited a real place. And that's why this game's known to be.
I mean, it's tough for me to say that because I'm not experiencing it in 1993 or whatever.
That's true as well.
You know what I mean?
That's true as well. Yeah, it's hard.
So it's not as groundbreaking or game changing
Yeah.
or as differentiating from other games, right? I mean, there's so many other like world building games that we've played. If you just think about like playing Skyrim is like a better world creation than this game, I would say objectively.
Well, yeah, it's harder for you to be immersed because in comparison to what we know games can look like.
Right.
You know, that's
But
not
I
the
think,
closest to reality look that we have available right
I
now.
think what helps this game is the fact that you have to be so focused on every detail and everything that's happening that you do get immersed than I think you would in like another puzzle game that's like easier. Like, because you need to pay attention to all the sounds, everything that you can and can't click, and every word or every like picture or like visage that's in front of you, you need to pay a lot of attention to. It helps you to like really get and stay immersed.
Did you notice the music?
I did. I noticed it happening. It didn't. I thought, although it was repetitive, it never really bothered me.
So originally the game had no music at all because
Thank
they
God.
thought it was unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because they said in real life there's no music when you're walking around. But I think it was Broderbund. It was like they were like, yeah, you should probably try putting some music in.
You got to do something. Yeah.
And they did, and they're like, oh, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah.
So
it was
actually, what do you
repetitive,
call it? The one of the brothers made all the music.
That's cool.
So Andy did a lot of the art. They hired like 2 guys, I think, to help with the art, and one other guy maybe did the like accounting work for them or something. But very small team, mostly the 2 brothers, and they were doing everything. As you know, they were in the videos doing the acting. They made all their own music. They did all their own art. They did all their own programming. Pretty crazy, especially like since when do the developers also happen to be the graphic artists also happen to do the music? Pretty much never.
It's not very often except for a really small studio, you know.
And another thing that makes it so I'll get into my review. I actually didn't love playing this game. It wasn't super painful, but for my particular kind of play style, it was too much for me in terms of I hate not knowing where to go. And I hate not knowing where to be spending my effort. And there's so many things that you could like be trying to put in different combinations of stuff that you're not actually ready to be doing to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Because I hate this feeling like, oh, I'm wasting time right now. Am I doing what I need to be doing? Where am I supposed to be going? And that's not the point of this game. You're supposed to like walking around, not knowing, tinkering with things. So it's just not my kind of play style. It's too open-ended for me.
No, I do like not necessarily knowing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's just a style. You know, it's just a style. I like being a little bit more linear.
You're more of a run right type player.
Run right and like point me at. I like puzzles, but like point me at it. Show me what's the next puzzle, and then like stick me there. Put me in a chair and point me at it. Yeah. So, but the more I learned about the game after the fact and the development process and everything behind it, the more I really started to like and appreciate it. Like how much of a labor of love it was. Like the 2 brothers, they mentioned that they had like no fans at the time. Nobody knew who they are. The studio like didn't care. Like they didn't give them a list of things the game had to be. They're just like, yeah, you guys are really good. Just do whatever you want, you know, give us, you know, put your heart out there. And they were able to just like get real weird and make their world any way that
just
they
make
wanted.
the game they wanted to make.
Exactly. Make the game they wanted to make, which is like pretty rare these days. And it just so happened to work out well for them. So from what I've heard, and spoiler alert, there are sequels to this game. I've heard they're even better. And I assume we'll probably make our way to them at some point. The next one's called Riven.
About you.
Well, I'll still do it. I mean, so they even admitted like this wasn't their, you know, best outing. Some of the puzzles were a little wonky. They said that the maze was the worst puzzle in the game.
The worst puzzle?
Because nobody realized the sounds.
Yeah, but you could still figure it out by just traveling.
Yeah, but that wasn't the point.
Yeah.
They give you the option to brute force it, which we did.
But doing it that way seems on brand for that game, though.
Yeah. But, I mean, they listed as a fail because nobody understood the way that they wanted you to do it. But they allowed you to brute force it, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
You could, if you wanted to sit down and draw a map, which is kind of, I think, the experience that we were looking for with this game, like having to take notes and all that kind of stuff. That I don't know. You could, but I don't know if the games really make you do that as much as they used to.
But I mean, you couldn't play this game without taking notes.
No way. No way at all. And I think I will in the future. When/if we do another game like this, I'll restrict myself to only notes and not take pictures on my phone. That was a little cheating from the future, kind of.
Yeah, that's fine. It honestly didn't even occur to me.
No, but I like that you did it that way, so I'm going to do it that way too. That way, really put yourself. And I would say you got lucky this time. You got unlucky last time. Make sure for each game, bring up the original manual, because there could be things in the manual that'll hinder you if you don't have it. Because back in those days, everyone looked at the manual. You had to.
I know. All right, that's fair. I'm not a manual looker. I like to kind of be surprised.
You're not Emmanuel Goldstein?
No, I like to kind of just figure
it
out.
You're not a serial killer?
I guess maybe that makes sense as to why I enjoyed this game in general.
Yeah. Well, there's not much in this one, but I know,
but just in general, I prefer to just like land in a game and figure out how to play it instead of being told how to play it. So then that is definitely
for you, because that's exactly what happened. This had the least, exposition or intro out of any game I've ever played.
Yeah.
They put you there and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, the game just started. I mean, to an extent, like Escape from Monkey Island or Curse of Monkey Island, whichever one we actually played.
Yeah.
There was no intro to that either. You just had to figure out what keys worked on your keyboard.
But I don't think they did that on purpose.
They probably intended
this was
for it to
very
be
much
good.
On purpose.
Yeah.
They definitely wanted you to just be like, the player is you, which is apparently very different from most games.
Okay.
Right? There is no person. They never talk about it. It is you. You fell into this island. And now you
I never considered who we were. I kind of figured we were like the dad.
Right. But you weren't.
Okay. Well, spoiler.
You were you.
It was me all along.
It was you all along. Yeah.
Okay.
So I definitely recommend, if you're listening here and even to Jim, I'd say give one of the walkthroughs a shot on the YouTubes. I think you'd be very interested to at least see how the game ends.
I kind of want to
try it on your own.
No, yeah, but I want to just get the one last part and see if I really need those other pages.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll go back and finish the game and get the other pages, go through the worlds again.
Yeah.
But I think if I can figure out this last dumbwaiter part and see if I can get to the end and if it'll let me beat the game.
I don't think it will, because I think when you get to that decision, it's supposed to be your last page for each.
Yeah, but that's fine. So I'll lose the game, but I will have completed it.
No. I don't know if it will allow you to see it, because if you haven't got all the rest of the pages, those won't be the last pages.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I'll see. I might want to try that. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I'd say my review was. And also when I found out how difficult it was to make all those graphics and how cutting edge they were, like each scene, which I think there was over 2,500 different screens, they took anywhere from like 2 to 14 hours to render per screen.
I actually, like, thinking more about it, I want to up my score to like 8.6 or 8.7.
You gave him an 8.7.
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Like, it was like super frustrating, but like I did really enjoy when I made progress. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that made up for it.
You feel like a fucking genius when you actually, and you're like, when I got to the end of the
try,
tunnel, I think I went, something like that. I was
mine was more like, oh, thank God. Because I was going off the paper. I had to all these nodes. Yeah. I had to go off the paper, and then I was going on to other ones. And I was like, you can't be any more connections.
For all of you on podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
We got to get better at that. Sorry, we're not professional podcasters quite yet. Yeah. Tricky. I wanted to, you see that in retrospect, now that I know everything about it, I really like it. But when I was playing it, I wanted to like it more, but I was so frustrated that I couldn't get anywhere. It hindered my enjoyment.
Yeah,
I'm like, let me do a puzzle. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing.
That's how I felt in like the first 45 minutes, I would say.
I think there's
maybe less,
click.
but once I started to get like 1 to 2 things, and I was like, all right, this is possible.
Yeah. I think there's also kind of a click in the way that you look at things and the puzzles.
Yeah.
And also I think I've gotten dumber.
Yeah.
Hard to really tiptoe around that one. And I think there's also a notion of, and it could be kind of because of the way that we're doing it, when we're coming into this and we're saying we're going to play this game for 4 hours and then we're going to talk about it, right? So I want to make progress. Also, obviously we're adults now. It's harder to find time in your week to play the game. So if I get a really good clip and I play for 2 hours, right? Now I'm halfway and I spent 2 hours, which is a lot for me to sit down and play a game these days. And I feel like I got nowhere. I'm frustrated. It's not like I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is tough. It's like, fuck.
I'm
now
level
I waste
3
all this
now.
time. So it's different. Yeah, it's a little different. But I guess that's something that we're
That's
putting
baseball.
onto it. So that's this week's episode. Jim is about to tell us, hopefully he has this figured out, what our next game is going to be. Before you tell us, Jim. For those of you playing at home or going to play at home with us, as I mentioned, we're going to pick a different game every week, going back and forth between two brothers, games from the 90s and early 2000s. Play the game for at least 4 hours and then listen to the podcast and hear what we had to say. And James?
So I think the next game. So I kind of boiled this down to 2 games. I won't tell you what the runner-up was in case I do decide to use it next time.
Another time.
Yeah. I didn't think the genre kind of lent itself to what we want to accomplish. But I think in the same vein of this puzzle-solving adventure game, we can play Tomb Raider 1, circa 1996.
Interesting. I've never played a Tomb Raider game.
Okay. Yeah, they're fun. Well, I've never played this one.
Assumedly, it's very easily.
I don't think I've played the first 2.
Acquirable. Do I have it on Steam?
Yeah, I already bought it.
You already got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's good. So Tomb Raider 1. There you go. You got on Steam.
Yes.
Do you know if somebody out there? Well, you know what? If you have it on PlayStation, sorry, you gotta play it on PC.
You can play it on computer or PS1.
No, I don't know if they. I don't think we should allow that.
It also came out on Sega Saturn.
It probably came out on
and Mac.
Because back in those days, I think it was maybe not easy, but they put it out on everything. Oh, by the way, Myst has come out on like every fucking platform ever.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's popular.
Now I think you could probably play it on iOS or whatever, your phone. Okay, so if you have a suggestion for a game that you'd like to see us play, send us an email, please. Our email address is theboys, theboys, @cdromp.com. A website that may or may not exist yet, but we own it, so don't try and buy it now. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hello, you could see us. But if not, if you don't like YouTube and you want to do podcasts, we have the podcast on Apple Podcasts, wherever the hell that is, and Stitcher. And you can, if you know how to do RSS type stuff, so we have an RSS feed which powers all that, and all the links are below. There's probably no links in the podcast, but go to YouTube and you can get all the links to all that kind of stuff. Jim, is there any final words you want to say about Myst this week?
No, I think you should try it and test the test the bounds of your patience and understanding.
I think, and I think luckily, because it's so difficult to explain, we didn't give anything away in terms of solving the puzzles.
No, I wouldn't be able to accurately describe any of the puzzles.
I probably could, but it would be boring. I think I have the ability, but it takes so much steps. I think it's very, very boring to listen to. So if you're listening right now and you didn't, definitely give Myst a go. One last thing I want to say, because we should be done. I watched an interview with Robyn Miller when he talks about the creation of Myst, and there was at the end there was a Q&A, and there was all people online, and one of the people online, he's like, I love your game. I used to make Myst clones. That's how I got into developing games. And the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, my name's whatever. And the guy goes, yeah, I know who you are. I've played your game. I really love it. He's like, you played my game? And it was the creator of Fez.
Oh, that fucking guy.
Yeah, he's like a super fan of the Miller brothers and Myst. And I was like, wait a second, that's that guy? And they knew who each other was.
Did Fez ever even come out? Oh, you bought it, right? Actually, now that I think of it. Was it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Was it?
I don't know if I came close to beating it, but yeah. So that's it. This is CD Romp. We appreciate you guys taking a romp with me and my brother here. I'm Bob.
Oh, I'm Jim.
And we'll catch you next week. Thanks so much, guys.
Adios.
Bye.